Hey everybody, welcome to the Dollar Club Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Panetta.
I'm Johnny the Jobber.
Did I just use my slave name on TV?
I think you did.
I'm your host, at Panetta Sexy Time. And we have guest correspondent,
Johnny the Jobber.
Johnny the Jobber.
Which is my slave name as well.
And Jim Prendy will be back next month, and he has many slave names.
Mr. Slave name, my favorite.
This episode we're going to talk about, we went to a Legends of Hamburg wrestling event over the summer, and we met a lot of famous wrestlers. It was a really good experience. Like, you all should go there. And we may talk about some random stories about other wrestlers we met. We actually had some exclusive interviews. Well, conversations. I wouldn't say we're big enough to have interviews yet. But Johnny, tell them about how we got into that event and how it started off.
It was awesome, man. It was just about an hour away from here in Norristown, Pennsylvania, but it was all highway 422. I was really concerned it was going to be like a sea of little kids and then just us. But luckily there were a lot of, adults just like us. Really good crowd, nice people, both the fans and the wrestlers, as a matter of fact. And it was a pretty good value. Wasn't it like $20 for both of us to get in? Yeah,
then they had like an independent show afterwards too. And supposedly the town is like legendary, like a wrestling town too. Andre the Giant, they were saying, like the locals used to wrestle there back in the day.
There was a local story, apparently he would wrestle from there and then walk to a bar, which he was too tall to go in, so we would have to like duck through the door, and he would just slam beers after his events. So it felt like the place for us, for sure.
Yeah, and then we didn't know what to expect, like when we walked in there. There's a bunch of tables, guys selling their merch and stuff, and we were afraid to look at people too long, so we didn't know if they were going to try to like $80 to talk to them and stuff like that. But then, who came up to us right away, actually?
None other than the Blue Meanie, actually. I felt like a little boy at my junior prom or something. I was just kind of like standing, looking around, and
you're actually wearing this shirt?
Yeah, I was wearing this shirt, Philadelphia, and like he kind of saw me and I saw him, and he goes, "I like your shirt." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." So we walk over to him. God, I wish I knew his last name, Brian, but that's the Blue Meanie. Yeah. The nicest guy, almost too nice, dare I say. Went ahead, I spent $20. For that $20, I got a BWO shirt. We each got autographs. We got a picture with him.
He gave us the autographs for free.
Yeah, he really just like threw it in, I'm saying. So not to expose him, but yeah, he was a pretty good bang for your buck. And
he asked us to listen to his podcast, which I don't think we did yet.
I actually did. I actually did, yeah. So, shout out to Blue Meanie. I listen to your podcast. It was titled A Beautiful Day, which was all about the Legends of Hamburg from his experience too. So it was really cool. I remember meeting him and I was so awkward. I was like looking around and I kind of looked up and there was rafters and I'm like, so who's taking the rafter spot? And probably just like the nerdiest thing you could say to like an ECW guy ever.
You got him to laugh though. That was good.
Yeah, he did laugh. I felt like it might have been a pity laugh, but nonetheless, he was a really nice guy.
Yeah, then the only comparable niceness-wise, wrestling-wise celebrities that I've ever met is I went to a Monster Con probably like 2 years before that in Maryland, Annapolis, Maryland, and Diamond Dallas Page was the nicest guy ever. He actually had his championship belt, the WCW one too. That's when I realized the belts are actually heavier than they look. Like when they say 10 pounds of glory, they really are like 10 pounds. Like I know it's not heavy, but I got a picture with him too, and he made me put the diamond sign up too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he wouldn't stop talking. I'm like, am I allowed to keep talking? And he just kept telling me stories, and he gave me like a free trial of his yoga, DDP yoga too. Sweetest guy alive.
That's awesome. And didn't you say it was really like a horror convention?
Yeah, it was apparently I know he's in a couple of Rob Zombie movies.
Yep, Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, and he said he had like a Netflix thing coming out, and it's still not out yet, so I don't know if it fell through, or maybe it just didn't. It fell through, maybe it's low budget and fell under the radar.
He was probably so pumped just to talk to like a wrestling fan, because all day he's talking to like Freddy Krueger fans, and they might have not recognized him or what have you. But.
Yeah, and he's the first guy I went up to too. I didn't get any. I saw like Matthew Lillard and Jamie Kennedy and stuff there. I didn't like go pay to see them. I actually paid and talked to DDP.
That's awesome of you to do.
Yeah.
Quick funny side story about the Diamond Cutter. Him and Jay-Z actually had like a lawsuit with each other because Jay-Z was doing the Throw the Rock Up, and DDP won the fucking court case.
He's a genius. He's a great businessman.
Very flexible as well, thanks to his DDP yoga.
I know Dave Grohl tried to sue him in WCW because he had a Nirvana like instrumental theme song.
What?
Yeah.
That's wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I forgot. I think it might have been like Teen Spirit. It was just that.
Nice. They ought to sue Limp Bizkit while they're at it too. But anyway, Yeah, DDP, great guy. I always loved his work too. I feel like he should have got more of a push. I honestly think Goldberg's best match was against DDP.
It was a good one. Him and Hogan was just so like iconic, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't his best match. Like that's most of Hogan's stuff. They're iconic, but not good matches.
And really a shame for them to finally bring him to WWE, WWF at the time. And they make him a stalker on Undertaker's wife. Like, what a weird angle to bring him in as.
He wanted to do the People's Chant versus the People Chant. Him versus The Rock would have been much better.
As a big Rock fan, I would have jumped through the roof if that would have gotten announced. Very, very sad we never got that one.
And then who do we see after that? Like we saw Blue Meanie, and then who was the second guy?
I believe Rhino.
Rhino was awesome too.
Rhino was very nice.
He actually told us a funny story too. He said Mother's Day is ruined now. Do you want to tell that story?
Oh, you go. You probably remember it better than me.
Well, he's like, it was a Mother's Day event in Philadelphia, and then somebody powerbombed him through a table, and they're like, "Happy Mother's Day, bitch!" Or no, I think he powerbombed somebody, like Raven or somebody, through the table and said, "Happy Mother's Day, bitch." So he said now every year on Mother's Day, like Sandman, Raven, like the whole ECW crew call him and say "Happy Mother's Day, bitch" to him. It's pretty funny.
Wonderful running joke. That's great.
Yeah, so like 30 years later, they're still calling Rhino saying "Happy Mother's Day, bitch."
I think I'm gonna give you a phone call on Mother's Day and say the same thing.
Nice. Yeah, but Rhino was awesome. He definitely, out of all the people there, in my opinion, he looked like he could kick most ass.
Yeah.
It's just so
definitely.
freaking.
And he wasn't really all in gimmick. I think he was literally in a t-shirt and jeans, but he just looked ripped. Looked like the toughest bouncer at a club. I also remember I asked them. Because the first thing I always think about when I hear from Rhino, it's that promo Chris Jericho did on him with Stephanie in the ring. And Jericho's all like, "Oh, I'm coming for you, you ugly, filthy animal. And I'm going to get you too, Stephanie." And so that got a good laugh. That's not the first time he's heard that. But yeah, awesome guy. Again, one of the guys, I was almost like surprised how nice a lot of these wrestlers were.
Yeah. And then the nicest guy, well, another really, really nice one, was Pimpin' Hose Nationwide.
Yes.
The Godfather was such an awesome guy too. Like we knew where his table was. We were standing near it, and I guess he was outside smoking.
Yes.
At least it smelled like it when he came back in. But there was like a little kid right in front of us too at the table, like right at his table. And he came in. And he made the kid get pictures with him. I don't even think he charged him. And he had the kid like pretend he was putting like a choke slam on him. It was really cool. And then Godfather talked to us for a while too. Like I think he was getting a big line because he was like. Had a great time talking to people too. And he actually told us a couple stories too that I think are public knowledge now, but I don't think they were then, about how much he hated the right to censor gimmick.
Yes, I brought that right up to him the whole Godfather time. And the best thing with the Godfather, he really does own like a strip club in Vegas, or at least he did at the time.
I think he said Club Cheetahs, right? Like a big one.
That sounds right. For some reason, Cheetah does ring a bell. But, so if he didn't like an angle, he would tell Vince, like, "Look, like, I'm not doing this. I'll go back to my club, da-da-da." So he always had, like, a little more pull than a lot of the guys that maybe, didn't have a plan B. They'll just go and literally kiss his ass live on TV or what have you. But Godfather really had some pull. And the other thing about Godfather, I gotta say, black does not crack.
Nah.
He looks the same as he did in, 1999.
Oh, yeah, well, I said to him, too, I'm like, "Hey, Godfather, I'm kind of a little pimp myself." And he's like, "Son, I've been pimping since before you were born." It was hilarious.
Nice.
That's like, speaking of the black don't crack thing, like,
Yes.
I think he said he graduated, like, school at, like, 71 or something.
70-something.
Yeah, we weren't even born
yet.
That
was insane.
He still looked like maybe a little bit older than us,
And he, as far as, like, wearing your gimmick and still looking like a star, like, he had the hat, he had the vest, like, he still looked like
bright purple, too.
Yeah, like, he looked like a pimp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So... He was awesome.
He looked cool. He looked cool too. He didn't look like an old guy. Just dressed up.
Absolutely.
He looked awesome.
Yeah, he was like the nicest guy that could still like kick your ass and tell you a funny joke simultaneously.
And there were a lot of guys there that we were afraid to walk up to. They just didn't do anything mean. We didn't know if they would charge us or whatnot too. Like we didn't go up to the Nasty Boys. I wish we did. D'Lo Brown, we didn't go up to. We love D'Lo too. That's so big. Someone we regret. We didn't talk to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things. It was an all-day thing, so you didn't want to just blow all your money. Like, we were literally just, like, kind of taking laps around this place. Like, "Oh, should we talk to him? Maybe in a little bit when the line dies down."
We wanted to, like, tip the guys, too. We didn't want to just, like, it's a job. We're trying to make money. We thought it'd be offensive if we walked up to some people and, like, didn't give them money, too.
Absolutely.
And we can't give everybody money.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of pick and choose.
there was a time too, like I remember we came back around and the Blue Meanie started talking to us again. And obviously we want to talk to him and whatnot, but in the back of my head I'm like, well, like I'm not buying another shirt or anything, so I hope like I don't offend you or whatever. I didn't actually say that, but you know, in my head I'm thinking that.
You kind of felt like when you're at the strip club and like the strippers come around for the third time, do you really want to give her another $1? It's disrespectful not to.
Absolutely. Cool. But speaking of disrespectful, we did get to meet the Sandman. That was a good time. That was the one wrestler that like portrayed how I thought they would all be.
Yeah.
You know, we came up to him and he's just, you know, like, oh, picture $20, kid.
Yeah, it was nothing mean. It's just like it was all business, you know. Wasn't
which
mean.
I respect.
Yeah.
And he really kind of looked his part too. Like he was in a t-shirt and jeans, but that's kind of Sandman, right?
Yeah. So he's tall. He looked good in shape. It looked like he could still do an okay match here and there.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah. He didn't look like horrible by any means.
And he wasn't drinking. He didn't seem drunk or high or anything like that. I mean, could have been, but he didn't seem it.
Maybe that's why he was so pissed. Well, why don't you tell him about the kendo stick?
Oh yeah, I'm like I recently bought a kendo stick just because I'm a wrestling nerd and I was gonna take a kendo shot and film it to see if it really hurt. And I'm like, hey Sandman, I just got a kendo stick. He's like, what? You got a kendo stick? It's $20. Give me $20. He just thought I was trying to buy a kendo stick off him. It's pretty funny.
Well, wasn't his initial reaction like you were like, oh yeah, I actually got a kendo stick? He's like, well, where is it?
Yeah.
He was a good dude though. Definitely enjoyed him. I got in that picture and so we're on each side of him and he put like his kendo stick like around our necks.
Yeah, I'm gonna post the pictures on top of the video.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna post this too.
You should be able to pull some off my Facebook for sure.
Nice.
I'll go through my
I think
phone.
we're in all the same pictures.
I believe so, actually, yeah.
Cool. And then, believe it or not, speaking of guys that you're known as for like drinking and drugs and stuff, Marty Jannetty was like a sweetheart. Seemed totally sober. He was a great guy. He was like promoting a wrestling school, and he was trying to talk me into joining his wrestling school too. He begged us, not begged us, but like really talked us into getting pictures with him and stuff too. He gave me a free autograph. He was a really, really sweet guy. You didn't really get to talk to him, though, did you? Did you go up?
I don't know. I felt bad. But yeah, I came for the picture, but like you guys were having such an in-depth conversation. I didn't want to butt in. Like, hey, can my scrawny ass join the wrestling school too? Like, I don't know. I just kind of let you have your moment, but you know, I have respect for him. He was a little before my time. Obviously, I know the whole Shawn Michaels barbershop window incident. Yeah. Like, that's the big thing that stands out.
He may have been trying to work me, but he won. He did a great job. Yeah. Nice. I'm gonna eventually go to his wrestling school as soon as like I get time off of work and arrange some stuff too. Yeah. Try it out, maybe do an indie show or two. But he was awesome. He was a really good guy. He definitely wasn't drunk or anything like that. He was normal. Just telling some good, funny stories.
Yeah. Definitely seemed like a nice guy and, you know, someone I respect a lot. Yeah. I think that was one of, like, the last guys we met.
Yeah, I think it was getting dark then, too.
Yeah. It was fun. Like I said, it was, like, an all-day event. So you really got to, like, hang out with fans, hang out with the wrestlers. Like, it was really cool. For long, even before the actual wrestling started.
I don't smoke, but there was a smoking section outside, so we would like walk outside because you'd see the wrestlers like sneaking out there to smoke cigarettes too. So we saw like Cowboy Bob Orr and Randy's dad smoking a lot. I think Larry Zbyszko was smoking with them. Too Cold Scorpio was looking for seemed like he was looking for some weed or something.
I was going to say, I didn't know if you wanted me to bring up or not, but...
Seemed like he might have been looking for a cigarette, but it could be wrong. There's nothing wrong if he wanted to smoke weed.
Well, was he the one he went to as him and his buddy dipped to their car, and he came back and his nose seemed really runny. I don't know.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
It looked a little runny. But it was a fun time. And then, speaking of, this is the Dollar Club Wrestling Podcast, I do need to talk about my dollar. There was a dollar awarded at that show. Jillian Hall was a sweetheart. She was a great girl, too. She was selling like her wine there and stuff too. I didn't buy any of her wine, but it was like really hot. It was in July or August too.
Yeah.
So she's all sweaty and like she put her arm around me and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so hot." And I'm like, "Yeah, you are." And I got a little chuckle out of her too. So she won the Dollar Club dollar for the Legends of Hamburg wrestling event. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I got to flirt with Jillian Hall.
I took that picture for you. I don't know. I didn't want to seem like a creep. I feel like anytime like you go up to a woman in that situation, it's like, hey, I'm not giving you money. Like, I'm here to meet dudes, bitch. Like, no, I don't know. But she seemed cool. I kind of thought about it, but I'm like, I don't know. I was penny pinching a little bit. But
I probably could have talked to her a little longer too, but I already got my win. She like smiled and laughed at me, you know. So I walked off into the sunset on that one.
Quit while you're ahead.
Cool. And then Heath Slater, we tried to talk to. I mean, he was like walking away, so he didn't do anything rude. But Johnny was about to have his first kid, and Heath Slater's the I Got Kids guy, and we wanted to tell him that. So, but he's just kind of like, we're like, yo, Heath, and he looked at us and just kept walking. Like, we tried to like wave and talk, and he kind of blew us off. It was nothing rude. Like he was busy. Like we just yelled his name randomly, and we're strangers, so it's not.
Yeah, totally understandable.
He looked much bigger too.
He did. That's what you kept saying too.
He would kick my ass. Now he's thought on TV he looks smaller.
He's a big guy. Maybe it's the pale skin and like the red hair. I don't know, but yeah, he definitely looks a lot bigger in person. Yeah,
maybe just from being off TV, he's been working out more or something too. I don't know. He got bigger.
And did he have like an actual booth or a table? Because I felt like we always just saw him walking around.
He was next to. Oh, that's right. Aiden English was there. Him and Aiden English and D'Lo were all around the same spot. I don't know if they had their own booth or not.
Got yeah. I guess every time we went by, we were really looking at D'Lo, or at least I was.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. That was cool. I really wish we would have met D'Lo. Wasn't it like he wanted to like teach a class or have like a seminar?
Yeah, he actually was teaching a class there too. I thought about signing up, but we're technically not independent wrestlers yet, so I probably could have gotten away with it, but I don't think I was at that point yet.
Yeah, and I will say this, I don't want to trash talk, but you know, like Godfather like had his whole gimmick on, looked like a star. Even like Sandman like kind of looked the part. D'Lo was in like a ripped up gray t-shirt and glasses. Like, I feel like if he would have put on, like, his chest protector and, like, shook his head around, I would have been a lot more prompt to spend the money. But for some reason, I don't know. For some reason, I just did not feel compelled to meet D'Lo. And I do regret it, but I feel like next time, like, if you're one of those wrestlers, like, you know, we all want to nerd out, like put on your gimmicks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like throw on the damn tassels, what have you. That's what we want to see, you know? Because even like Godfather, like just the fact that he had the hat on, he was dressed in purple, like that made it. If you would have just been in like a t-shirt and jeans, it would have took.
We should have talked to the Nasty Boys because they had their full Nasty shirts on. I guess next time, they have the event every year. We're going to go again this year.
Definitely going to
go this year too.
Going to be a little less stingy too. Going to go with some cash and
I should have bought a shirt. I wish I bought a shirt.
I did. I bought my BWO shirt directly off the Blue Meanie, which I'm pretty proud of. Cool. Makes it feel very authentic.
Is there anybody we're missing that we had good conversations with or stories with? I know like Snitsky was there. We didn't get to talk to Snitsky. Chris Van Vliet, the podcaster, I met him. He's a gentleman.
Yeah, he was a really nice guy.
Yeah, I love him. Like he's ripped too. He's huge. He looks like he could be a wrestler. I know he did some training, went through school before, but he was awesome.
And you knew him prior to that?
I didn't know him prior. We were friends on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
So we never like met, but I've liked his tweets and we follow each other on Twitter. He's really awesome.
Well, that's okay. He talked to you like he knew you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like he was a real. Nice
I said to him
guy.
right away, like, "Hey, we're friends on Twitter," so I don't know if he wanted to like hit me. I don't remember you or not, but at least he seemed like he did.
Yeah, I mean, some of those guys are probably just like happy to be known, I guess.
Yeah,
you know?
I wish I bought something off of him too.
Yeah, in hindsight, I probably should have too. I think it was one of those things I was debating. That was pretty early on.
Yeah,
I think it literally went Blue Meanie, Rhino, then him, if I recall.
Yeah.
So we were literally in our first like half hour.
Sandman was on that side. We didn't even see him yet. Remember we had to ask. I think we asked Blue Meanie. We go, "Where's Sandman at?" He's like, "Oh, right there." Like he was just wearing like that plain t-shirt. You know?
Right. Well, I don't know. It was an awesome time though, and all those guys were really nice. Like I made jokes about Sandman, but he was actually really nice. And,
yeah, anything. And Heath didn't blow us off. He just didn't answer to guys yelling, "Hey, please talk to me." You know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's what happens when you sit next to D'Lo Brown.
Yep.
Yeah. You might get outshined.
Aiden English is pretty cut too. I'm afraid is his real name. He goes by his real name now.
I told Blue Meanie too. He has not aged at all.
Yeah.
Too. And he said he's like, "Oh yeah, I feel like I like grew into my age." Like
yeah, he did say that.
Yeah, he said he's like, "I feel like I used to look older and I just haven't changed." So I don't know. Super nice guy. The Meanie Salt is a great finisher to this day.
Cool. Well, that was our experience with Legends of Hamburg wrestling show. We're gonna go again next year. If we think of anything else, we'll randomly put a bit up on here and let you know. Awesome time, and Godfather, you're the man. Blue Meanie, you're the man. Shouts out to Chris Van Vliet.
Hip and ain't easy.
Dollar Club Wrestling Podcast. Panetta Sexy Time.
I felt like that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I might have stuttered.
Yo, yes. Yes. You can't get him.
You can do it.
Is this part of the You can't get him. You can't get him. kick, get him! Oh, yeah!
Please like, comment, and subscribe to the Dollar Club Wrestling Podcast.